nuevos CPCs Plus de Amstrad, ahora también con cartucho, teclado, monitor y un joystick infalible. Amstrad CPC Plus, para jugar y aprender son únicos.
Amstrad. Greetings all, I'm Sega Zombie and welcome to another episode of And Now for Something Completely Not Sega. This week, as you can see, we're going to be taking a look at my Amstrad 464 Plus. Now, this was introduced way back in 1990. Amstrad felt it was time to update their CPC range. This one replaced the CPC 464. At present, I don't own a 464, so we're going to stick with the Plus. This is the official pad that they released for it. Not a bad pad, it's functional, it does its job. Here's the 464 Plus monitor. A great little machine. But what this is all about is the games, guys. Is a look at the big box games. Let's now move on and take a closer look. First up, we have Satan. This is a great game by Dynamic. Awesome visuals on this. Let's take a closer look, guys. Satan was released back in 1989, and what a game. Guys, look at these visuals. Awesome sprite design, really great detailed backdrops. The aim of the game, just to get from cavern to cave, under the time limit. You've got endless ammo, loads of power-ups. The stopwatches are the most important thing to get so your time doesn't run out, and it's just wave after wave of enemy. If you've played Black Tiger or Bionic Commando, this game will be right up your street. A great little side scroll shooter, this. Highly recommended, and Dynamic just managed to do with the Amstrad what so many other companies failed at doing. Look at this, it's hard to believe that this is on the 8-bit Amstrad. I highly recommend checking this game out, guys. It's a hard one to get hold of nowadays. Original box, but if you can grab it, grab it. If not, get the ROM. Awesome. Next up, a game that needs no introduction, and that's Chase HQ. This game was pretty special on the ZX Spectrum, but I think the Amstrad version is the best one. As you can see there, it's got the speech. Great visuals, awesome colours. This game, for an 8-bit release of Chase HQ, is so close. Really has the feel of the arcade game. This really has got to be high up on the list of one of my favourite Amstrad CPC games. Awesome. Back to the stack of games, we've got WrestleMania. Not really a big fan of the wrestling games. And then we've got Shadow Warriors, also known as Ninja Gaiden in the rest of the world. Another great little run and gun, this one, Midnight Resistance. See if we can take a closer look here at some of the visuals. Not a bad little port on the Amstrad. And then next up, here we have X-Out, a quality little shooter. Let's take a quick look. As you can see, you're like in bug crafts. It moves really well. Fast paced, loads of action, loads of enemies on screen at once. Highly recommend, if you can give this game a blast, guys, check it out. Moving on, here we have Back to the Future 2. A nostalgic game to me, but not great nowadays. Likewise with Terminator 2 Judgment Day. And next up, here we have Flimbo's Quest. Now, this is one of my favourite games on the Commodore 64, but lacking on the Amstrad. And here we have an interesting one, RoboZone. Now, this game has got some really large sprites, quite a nice little blaster. I'll tell you what, guys, let's take a quick look. RoboZone, released by Imageworks. And as you can see, big huge sprites there. It's like an inspired Ed 209 style robot that you control here. of blast and loads of bugs. Recommended. Moving back here, we have Sly Spy Secret Agent. This is one of my favourite games back in the day. Me and my mates used to blast this game over and over. A great little port on the Amstrad. Oh, and here we have Shadow Warriors again. It looks like I've got some trade fodder. Next up we've got Power Drift. A great Sega arcade machine. Unfortunately, the Amstrad conversion isn't great. It's very sluggish. And talking about sluggish, here we have Final Fight, the great Capcom arcade game, released by US Gold. Let's take a closer look, guys. Now after that impressive intro, oh dear, we're faced with a really disappointing game. Released in 1991 by US Gold. Yes, US Gold, they done it again. They dealt with all the conversions on all the home personal computers back in the day. And yeah, it looks okay. Visually not a bad game, but look at this slowdown. The character animations on the sprites is very lacking. There's no soundtrack to the game, which is just awful, and the sound effects really bad. What else can I say, guys? You know, this is a real disappointment and a big letdown. Such a shame. Right, moving on to the next pile. What have we got here? First up, a little bit battered this box, but we've got Dundugar, and then we've got the mighty Alien 8, released by Ultimate Play the Game. We've also got Sky Electrics. I've not played this actually. And then we've got the Ocean Laser Basic programming, and the mighty Star Glider. I need to blast this on the Amstrad. I remember it very well on the Atari ST. And here we have an awesome compilation pack. Again, this was a compilation pack I had on the ZX Spectrum. Got it one Christmas. Some great games on here. I tell you what, guys, let's take a closer look at some of my favourites.
The warden has been taken hostage. Bring him no matter what the cost.
Jailbreak, originally released in 1984 by Konami. Now, this is a game I could never get to load on my Spectrum. I was so annoyed. I can remember so wanting to play this game. It would get all the way past the loading screen and boom, crash out. I was so gutted. But it's good to play it again now on the old faithful Amstrad, and it's a great little game. The mighty Green Beret, released in 1986 by Imagine Software. Now, this is a great game. I loved this on the Spectrum. I do believe the Spectrum is the best conversion of this game. This one has the awful scrolling there, screen by screen, and it's a lot easier than the Spectrum release. Great graphics, nice colours, but yeah, it's not as faithful to the arcade original as the Spectrum version, but a great little game, and also known as Russian Attack in America. And I think everyone back in the day had a copy of this on whatever system they had at the time. The awesome Yi Are Kung Fu. Now, this game was released back in 1985 by Imagine Software again. This is the first fighting game I ever got to experience and play. Me and my mates would play this game over and over again. This was a game that I played and tried to master. Now, the original arcade was released early in 1985, and a great arcade game it was. It was based on a game called Karate Champ, which was released the previous year, 1984. And yeah, this has character, so much character. All the different animations on each opponent that you face next. A great little game, highly recommended. A great little soundtrack, lovely colours, a nice set of moves. A really, really solid little beat 'em up. Awesome. Next up we have Wet Le Mans. A nice little racer, this one. And another compilation coming up here. We have Battle Stations, the awesome Operation Wolf, Typhoon and Guerrilla War, which was a sequel to Akari Warriors. And here we go, I have another one, more trade fodder. The last pile of the big box, guys. First up, another compilation of winter games here by Epix. These are great games, these. If you like the old button bashing, track and field and them style of games, you'll love this. Some really good events on here. And then moving on here, we have another compilation by Ocean, Top 20 Computer Hits exclusive to Dixon's. The awesome Batman there, movie, moving across here, Green Beret again, Whizball, Game Over, Slap Fight, a nice compilation. And then this game needs no introduction. What a game this was in the 80s, and that is the Mighty Elite. Moving on quickly here, we've got another compilation here, Red Hot Hits 30. And then if you like your text adventures, I highly recommend these. The Token Trilogy, we've got The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings and Shadows of Mordor. Awesome. And we have a US Gold compilation here. Can't say any of them games really stand out. And here we have the Light Pen. I've yet to try this out. And here we have another awesome coin up compilation here of Tato's. We've got the Mighty Rastan, Flying Shark. Let's take a closer look, guys. First up is Flying Shark. Now this was originally released in the arcades in 1987. Developed by Toplan and published by Taito in Japan. A great little game this, and a good solid conversion here by Firebird. This is a game that I think I've owned on every single system, and it really is a solid vertical shooter. Highly recommended, and the Amstrad port is a decent one. It's very similar to the Spectrum release, but the colours are a little bit more varied as you'd expect. It's got some great sprite animation. I like how you shoot the planes and then they dive and hurtle towards the ground. And your typical shooting of the tanks, blasting off the turrets and then blasting what's left of them. A great little game this, highly recommended, and it's a must own game. An awesome conversion done by Imagine Software here, guys, of the mighty Arkanoid. A great puzzler, this one. A lovely brick bash and block busting game. I highly recommend this. Arkanoid is a solid game. So addictive. Yeah, it's got that I just want to get a little bit further factor to it. And yeah, love it. And here we have the awesome Renegade. Originally released in 1986 by Taito. It's based on the Japanese game Hot-Blooded Tough Guy Kuni. Now this game was completely reskinned and redone for the Western audience and was released on the Amstrad. Now again, Imagine dealt with the publishing of this game, and it is a really faithful port of the arcade. Highly recommended. Up there with some of the best graphics and awesome soundtrack, as you can hear. Really solid gameplay. The controls take a bit of getting used to, because obviously you have to use your joystick, and as that only had the one button, you then incorporate by using the keyboard. Once you get the hang of it though, guys, it's fast flowing and a really awesome little side scroll and beat 'em up. This is how it should be done. Take note, Final Fight and US Gold. One of the very first side-scroll and beat-em-ups. It's the first game to introduce a three-button attack system, hence why the use of the keyboard. And also, this game was such a massive hit. It spawned lots of sequels, unofficial though to the arcade, but were released on all the home computers. We have the last of the big box in the collection, and that's Cartoon Collection. Here we have Dizzy, CJ, Spike and Seymour.
Amstrad.
And here we move on to my double case original release titles here, guys. Savage. This is a really awesome game. First played it on the Atari ST and I was blown away with the Amstrad release. Let's take a look. Originally released by Probe, this game really is a stunning run and gun medieval blaster. Look at these lovely detailed sprites. This game really is outstanding for an 8-bit machine. It's so close to the Atari ST original that I played back in 1988. This was released on the Amstrad by the mighty Firebird. Another solid conversion by them guys. Awesome. This is your typical fare in this style of game. You've got your power-ups and you can pick up potions which regains your health and gives you shields. This is just executed so well. A solid game, guys. This truly is awesome. Swiftly moving on then, we've got After the War, another totally awesome game released by Dynamic. Again, it's got awesome graphics as you expect by these guys. Really great, highly detailed, big sprites. Awesome game. Next up we have Evening Star by Hoosen. And this is an impressive game technically. Mac 3 on the Amstrad. Moving along, a game I'm not that familiar with, and that's Nemesis, the Warlock. And here we have Pulsator. And we've got to take a closer look at this, guys. Rampage, one of my favourite games. And here we have Rampage, the original arcade game released by Bally Midway, to which this conversion is based on. A solid port of the game, this. Nice graphics again, highly detailed, lots of good use of colour again. And it is really true to the arcade original. Highly recommend this on the Amstrad, guys, and it's really worth checking out. Rampage was a hugely successful game back in the 80s, and me and my mates used to love blasting this game. An awesome multiplayer and a really awesome game released on every system there was back in the day. Another great Amstrad port, and this game was so successful it spawned many sequels. Up next we have War, or WAR. We have a nice little Hoosen compilation here. Some great games on there. Here we have a Dungeons and Dragons. This is a game that I used to play a lot when I was a kid. I haven't played it recently. And here we have Blood Witch. Graphically an impressive game, this one. And moving on to another Imagine game, and it is a sequel, Renegade 3. Probably the weakest one in the trilogy. The awesome Dragon Ninja. Again, a game I've played on every system. Another Husum game here. Synapse. And Impossible by Husum again. This was technically a very impressive game. And here we have Druid. On to the next stack, guys. And here we have Buffalo Bill. World Games by Epix. Another good button basher there. And here we have ISS. Hopping Mad by Elite. And the awesome Spin Dizzy. A fantastic game on the Amstrad. I do believe that it was originally coded on the Amstrad. And here we have V. What a great 80s TV sci-fi series that was. And Operation Wolf. A great conversion. Let's take a closer look, guys. The mighty Operation Wolf. Now this has got to be in my top 10 of all-time favourite arcade games. And the Amstrad conversion is solid, guys. Look at these visuals. It's so close and true to the arcade original. An 8-bit master, this one. Great detailed sprites. You know, the characters are nice and big. This is a solid game on the Master System. But I think the Amstrad just about edges it. It's tried to keep the detail and the big sprites of the arcade. I love the varied levels. An awesome game. And a must in anyone's collection on any system. I can remember back in the day buying this from John Menzies for the good old ZX Spectrum. Awesome. And here we have Aliens. Now, a highly commended game this, critically acclaimed, but not one I'm into. Winter Games, again, more button bashing. Here we have a good text adventure, Killed Until Dead. And here we have the god-awful Outrun. Only joking, guys, I won't put you through it. And here we have Sentinel. Breakthrough. Quite a poor game, this one. And the awesome Space Harrier 2. I do love the original Space Harrier on the Amstrad. And Impossible Mission. A game that I could never ever play. It's so rock hard. Quickly moving on here. I showed this in my last Amstrad video, and that's Light Force, a great shooter. And here we have Beyond the Ice Palace. And a game I lost hours on, and that's Rambo. We've got to take a closer look, guys. Rambo released in 1985 by Ocean. Good old Ocean. They've done so many movie releases, and they're the games I used to love. Back being a kid, watching the films, and then playing the game. And this game was no exception. I played it over and over again until I finished it. I think this is one of the first games I did complete back in the day. And I remember being so jealous of the Amstrad and the Commodore 64 versions. Growing up with the ZX Spectrum, it was just black and white. My best mate back in the day, he definitely had the bragging rights over this one. Really disappointing on the Spectrum, but highly playable and great looking on the Amstrad. Also like the Commodore 64 version as well. Another one of my mates had that, and they would always laugh at the poor old Spectrum version. A great game, and like I said, whenever I put it on, I can't help but play it right through until the end. A great conversion of Gauntlet on the Amstrad, awesome game. Enduro Racer, this is just a lazy port of the Spectrum version. And here we have Knight Rider, a game I always wanted to love because I loved the TV show but could never figure it out. And here we have Cybernoid, another awesome Hoosen release. And Zillion. Here we have Star Strike 2. Moving on quickly, the obligatory Dragon's Lair. It was on everything. They sold 1 million, some great games on here. Sabre Wolf, Beachhead, Jet Set Willy. And next up, the mighty Gryzor. What a release this is on the Amstrad. We've got to take a closer look, guys. The stunning Gryzor was released in 1987. This is based on the original Konami arcade machine, known as Contra. Now in Europe, for whatever reason, it was retitled to Gryzor on the home computers, and then released on the NES as Probotector. A great little run and gun this. Your typical fare, but again executed brilliantly. And the Amstrad conversion is by far the best. Really, really awesome game this. Highly recommended. And in my top 10 of Amstrad games. Definitely up there. In the top 10 without a shadow of a doubt. This was a highly successful game for Konami. And this is what spurred the company on. They went on to create some awesome run and gun games. And some truly brilliant sequels to the Contra franchise. An absolutely awesome game, guys. Check it out if you haven't already. And like I've said, it's solid on the Amstrad. Highly recommended. Go grab it. And onwards we go. Another compilation here. Scooby-Doo, Jet Set Willy 2, 1942, Split Personalities. Here we have a nice text adventure, Frankenstein. And last up at the double cassettes, we have Empire Strikes Back. Up next is my single cassette releases, the budget releases, which all of us had back in the day. You could pick these up for anywhere from 99p to $2.99. Some great releases here, lots of Codemaster classics, Quick Snacks, Dizzy. We have Pause, Frank Bruno's Boxing, Wizard's Lair, which I've shown previously, great game. Ghostbusters. This was a chance for companies to re-release games under different publishers, and they were all at pocket money prices. Some great games here, Microsonic games. Bomb Jack, a classic. Gauntlet 2. Moving on, Werewolves of London, another game coded originally on the Amstrad. Vigilante, Forgotten Worlds, Ninja Warriors. Awesome. On to the next releases in my collection, and here we have the Hit Squad releases. Re-release games of big selling titles. You can see Afterburner, Renegade, Green Beret, Tubin, Salamander, Predator. That's a great game on the Amstrad. Dragon Ninja again. Daley Thompson's Decathlon. Wonder Boy, the awesome IK Plus, Chase HQ and Batman. And up the top here, Target Renegade. Then quickly moving on to my clamshell releases. Heavy on the Magic. Project Future. That's a quirky little game, this one. Some nice visuals. Starion or Starion. Defend or Die. Some great box art on these. Red Arrow. The memories just come flooding back looking at these guys. Biggles. Night Games. A button basher but set in the medieval times. You do jousting and the like. World Series Baseball. Detonator. Ha ha ha. Microgen, they release some great games. 3 Weeks in Paradise there. The Boggett. Another text adventure. Highway Encounters. Or Encounter. Great little game that. I was blasting that recently. And I have 2 copies, some more trade fodder. And this is a game we've got to take a closer look at. A great game this. Get Dexter. Let's take a closer look, guys. Get Dexter is a graphic adventure game originally released for the Amstrad in 1986. It was programmed by Remy Herbelot with graphics by Michael Rowe and was published in France by ERE Informatique and PSS in Britain. A great little game this, guys. An awesome adventure and technically so ahead of its time. This is one of the first games I remember where you could like jump onto items, move items. It's got the isometric look of the ultimate play the game sort of games like Night Law and Alienate. But this just added more depth, you know, better graphics. Solid visuals there. Some awesome use of colours. And a really great puzzler. I can remember getting really stumped in this game. Like I did back in the day with Head Over Heels. You really have to use your brain box here into solving some of these puzzles. You find yourself moving backwards and forwards into the rooms. You pick up items along your way, which you can see in the bottom corner there, the chest. A great little game, highly recommended, and it's quite unique. A unique art style to it. Awesome. On to the last of the clamshells, Sweevo's World, Jeff Cape's Strongman, a game I really did love back in the day on the Spectrum, another text adventure, Jewels of Babylon, and one that I can't get to load, guys, Willow Pattern. This one looks quite surreal, a unique looking game, all looks a bit dreamy, a bit trippy. Last but not least, guys, and that is my Amsoft collection. Now, this is a really nostalgic set to me because I can remember back in the day when my best mate first got his Amstrad. This was the set of games that come with it. A load of Amsoft titles here, and I can remember playing Oh Mummy for the first time. The first Amstrad game I got to play. I can remember my best mate's parents setting this all up, playing Roland in the Caves, Sultan's Maze, Roland on the Ropes, what a classic. Harrier Attack, and the awesome Haunted Hedges, a Pac-Man clone, and recent pickup, Tombs Town there, a great little adventure game. There we have it, that's my Amstrad collection, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've really enjoyed filming it and putting it all together because it's not often I get to get all the Amstrad out and take a look. This is a good tool for me, so I get to see what's in my collection. I'm Sega Zombie, and until the next time, goodbye.